Oregon. This is NBC 16 News at 6:30.
First at 6:30, President Trump signing his new tax and spending bill into law earlier this evening. Good evening and thanks for joining us for NBC 16 News at 6:30. I'm Alan Matthews.
And I'm Gold Meadows. The newly passed spending bill contains trillions of dollars in tax cuts set to impact millions of workers across the country. Now, I spoke with some of those workers about the no tax on tips policy in the bill, who say they still don't back the bill. President Donald Trump's spending bill eliminates federal income taxes on tips and overtime pay. Still, there's a tone of concern among some Lane County residents after the bill made it across the finish line Thursday morning.
Done in a very selfish and not widely sympathetic approach to the benefit of everyone. I would hope that the people in charge are realizing how much widespread backlash there is from the majority of the population and realize these are who you're actually serving and not the powers and the lobbyists and the corporations at the top, but looking after your individuals and knowing that's who's going to vote for you.
When people like to tell me this at work, I like to remind them that if they are worried about us not claiming taxes on our tips to tip in cash, that we have a lot of taxes taken out of our paychecks every time because of how much we make.
Despite avoiding taxes on tips and overtime pay, many of the targeted workers receiving those cuts are fearful that the bill, which calls for $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid over 10 years, makes health insurance unaffordable.
I personally have a father who has had cancer on and off for many years, and I'm worried that he's going to lose his Medicaid and my family will no longer be able to afford those treatments for him.
The taxes that go towards like medical care and like food stamps and all that, I think it does more harm than good in the long run. Like, yeah, we have more money in our pocket for the time being, but I think the long-term impact is a bit more severe. Taxes are not a fun thing to pay, but a part of making sure we have good roads and SNAP benefits and helping those who need help when they can't pay for it themselves.
And with $230 billion in SNAP cuts over 10 years, individuals and families on food stamps will come up short. But Ann Meyer, who also works at a local farmer's market, says it's not just those holding the SNAP card that will be hurt.
Knowing that those might go away makes me really scared and really sad, and especially for the people who receive those benefits, but also our local farmers. So many of those programs fund and keep our farms open, and without those programs, that is a huge loss of business and money.
The bill calls for states with a payment error rate above 6%, whether an over or underpayment of SNAP benefits, to pick up some of the slack with SNAP benefits by 2028. The no tax on tips policy in the bill works on up to $25,000 in tips. The final price tag on the bill is estimated to be just over $3 trillion. More than $1 trillion in cuts to SNAP, Medicaid, and green energy initiatives were aimed at paying for some of the cost of the bill.